Hello Unreal users, Alex here, your Unreal guide, and today I'm gonna show you the final piece of this puzzle, the HDRI Matching tool. As you saw in previous tutorials, we made a material and rotated that material of our HDRI. However, if we go to our skylight here and we select the cube map, we won't be able to drag this rotation into that channel. The only image we can put here is actual HDRI. And this HDRI also have rotation. So how do we match that rotation to our background? And this is what I'm going to show you today. As you can see here, I already did a little baking test. And I also added, in every sphere, I also added this HDRI image. So this HDRI image got the same rotation as the spheres, the background, and the sky. So everything aligns and matches perfectly. So today I'm going to show you how we can use this cool tool in order to match. It comes actually with 64 HDRI packs and the rotation tool. So after you guys download it, you can go to your Unreal Engine and you can add this. You just click add and you select project, and this HDRI has been added to your project. Okay, now the only thing is what I really did in this one differently is adding this cube map of HDRI to all my reflection spheres. Now I noticed something. If you look at this also, at this chrome material, it doesn't really reflect the environment of our loft. It does reflect only the HDRI. And that's good if you do vehicles. If you just take this HDRI and you place some object around it, this is the method that you're going to use. You're going to put HDRI in your reflection spheres. But inside this interior, this is just not necessary because we're going to hit different angles, like different wall angles. We're getting into Fresnel, if you can see here on the side, and we're going to get this bluish light from the HDRI, or as you can see here or somewhere. Yeah, I can see it here coming up. And therefore, especially this wall right here, see, getting really not natural color. Okay, so we're not going to use any HDRI in reflection spheres. The only place we're going to use it is in the background and in the skylight. Okay, so let me open my loft before the HDRI tool. And here, if you remember, this is where we stopped in our previous tutorial. So this is my editor sphere, and this editor sphere is being rotated by using this angle right inside the material. However, we cannot really put this rotated angle into our sky. So how do we match it? Here comes this tool in play. When you download it, add it to your projects, it's 1.5 gigs. It's going to be added as a folder called HDRI tool, and then you go to your blueprints and then you drag and drop this HDRI right here. Now we can lower it down, and you can see if when I'm lowering down, our editor sphere doesn't really match that anymore. So I'm going to hide that editor sphere, and I'm going to work with this HDRI tool only. So let me do a little check if we have other maps that we can add. Let's try to drag and drop this guy here. So I'm dropping inside my sky a new HDRI, and when I'm going up to the HDRI background tool, I can click here on refresh, and it's going to refresh. So every time I rotate this image and I go back to my HDRI tool, I click refresh, and I can get the angle, but we don't get live representation. How do we get this live representation? We go back to our blueprints. We have here utility widget that starts running right away. You can see here. And this widget is actually updating our HDRI rotation automatically. Isn't that cool? So now we can drop any HDRI in there and get rotation of our sphere and sky. So I'm gonna go back to my flipped version of that image, and let's do next thing. I'm going to position my sun according to what we had earlier in the test, what we had inside our Max and V-Ray scene. So I remember we had some nice lighting coming in and spilling some nice shadows here. This looking good. Okay, now I'm going to adjust this back to our test that we did, to our method when we lowered the intensity and increased our indirect lighting. So 215, this is actually gonna give a nice bounce. Also, we're going to increase the intensity of a sky to 3, so we get a little bit more bouncing. Both of them are set to static, because for production we are doing static light baking. Now this tool also works with RTX and all the ray tracing and all the live stuff, also going to be updated. But let's go and get our position right. So let me launch this tool again, and I'm going to go inside my loft, and here I can start rotating and matching my sun. I can also shift my sun a little bit, so it will be easier to get the right direction. And let's go back to our sky. Now it will be easier to match. Okay, let's put 30. And that's looking pretty right, in the right direction. Okay, now all this stuff been set up, we can click light baking. I'm gonna close this, and let's click preview build lighting only. Now, very important in this HDRI tool here, we didn't set our light shadow to be static. And we're probably gonna get now a message that says, all right, so we got this message here, says large actor received 3 shadows, will create an extreme performance hit unless the BCAS dynamic shadow is set to false. So this is what we need to do. We need to put this on static lighting casting, and let's do build. Now it will go through properly. All right, so in my opinion, this is one of those most important things when it comes to HDRI lighting and using HDRIs inside your interiors or exteriors. I haven't found any good technique in order to match it, unless Datasmith is going to add this option automatically when you export. But for now, this tool is the essential thing. I don't think there is anything else that can really fix and get the alignment properly with your reflection spheres, with your HDRI maps, and with your sky. Especially sky, because you don't really see it when you rotate it. But this tool is very handy. All right, and the build was done. We have some minor overlaps here that we need to fix on the models, but this is not a big deal as long as our build is working properly here. Okay, so we can see how the alignment actually contributing to this scene. We can see a lot of light coming in, and we have really nice dark shadows at the background. And if we rotate here, we can see very nice soft shadows on the floor. And we have this also a little colorization coming from the HDRI. But what's the most important to get is the light flow. And the light flow is always we're going to have more light, more lit areas around the windows, and more shadowed areas as we progress into our interior. If I switch here to lighting, we can really see how this lighting works. So this is what you guys need to do in order to get photorealistic lighting inside your interiors. And this is the final step. I do hope you guys enjoyed those free video tutorials from our update of Unreal Engine class. We have more than 50 tutorials in that class, and from now on I'm going to add textures, I'm going to add more models, I'm going to do a quality bake, position cameras, and execute a fully photorealistic video production of that interior space. So if you want to learn how to render and create photorealistic interiors, join our class and I'll be more than glad to assist you. Okay, so again, thanks for watching. This is Alex, your V-Ray guide. Talk soon. Ciao.